Hello, 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 and welcome to another day in court, but not actually. Hello, everyone. It's me, Leo Felice, and I am super excited for the fact that I can finally get an official translation for the second game in the Investigations series. And thanks for stopping by, First Hour. I appreciate you lurking, so no worries. So, I am a huge fan of the Ace Attorney franchise. And I remember being extremely angry and disappointed about when the second game came out, about in 2011, I think. And then shortly after that, Capcom was like, yeah, we aren't gonna localize this, sorry. And I was like so disappointed. It made sense because that was when the 3DS was just about to come out, or actually had come out, I think. I don't remember the dates exactly, but yeah, the 3DS was already a thing. And Ace Attorney, back then, it wasn't exactly their strongest selling title. It was still pretty niche. So yeah, it made sense why it kind of got the short end of the stick. But, over 10 years later, they've actually invested a lot of stuff into Ace Attorney. They put out the HD trilogy a good while back. They put out they've actually also localized the great Ace Attorney duology, which those games are great. Very, very fun. And then, of course, earlier this year, we had the so-called Apollo Justice trilogy, even though he's only really the main character in 1.5 games. But you know what? Fuck it. Let's call it his trilogy. Why not? But oh man. I played the fan translation for Investigations 2 a couple of years back, and I am amazed at how good that game is. So the fact that, it has an official release now and that people can finally know these characters by their new official names and discover just how good that game is, it just makes me so happy. So of course, that's why I'm here. Gonna play, starting from the first one. As much as I would love to go and move on to the second case immediately, I can't bring myself to do it. Mostly because it has been at least 10 years since I played the first Investigations game all the way through. And I'll admit, it's not my favorite Ace Attorney game. It has some good cases, but some of the cases do drag on quite a bit. I remember the third case drags on, and then the fifth case is infamous for tricking you into thinking, oh, it's about to end, we're about to catch the bad guy, and then nope, they're gonna pull some bullshit out and just delay this whole thing by another 2 hours. So much that it's kind of become a meme in the fandom, but we're just gonna pretend this is blind for anyone that's tuning in that hasn't watched or seen anything from the Investigations games. So I'm gonna try and avoid any spoiler talk until that type happens. I'm just here to enjoy and just be a little nostalgic. And you can tell I'm incredibly poorly planned out because I forgot to get myself a drink, because I am going to be reading every line of dialogue, every inner thought, and I'm going to be doing my best to try and give a voice to these characters. Now, I don't consider myself a voice actor. I just do really stupid voices that sound good to me, but as soon as I listen to them back on audio, I'm like, holy shit, that sounds like ass. But hey, funny voice is sometimes funny, so I'm just gonna do that, and hopefully I don't kill my voice, but I'm gonna go ahead and grab myself a quick drink, and I'll be right back. For security reasons, all prosecutors' doors are outfitted with locks. Which means it would have been hard for the murderer and victim to get in here. Ergo, it is impossible to dismiss the location of this crime as mere coincidence. I swear to God, if my mic was on mute for like the last 5 minutes, I'm gonna be so mad. If I legit forgot to unmute myself, like, after I went to go get water, I'm gonna be so mad. Oh well, we'll just continue on in case it wasn't. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, sir. There must be a reason why someone infiltrated my room. What was the killer after? You're really on the ball today, Mr. Edgeworth. That's some beautiful logic, sir. Yes, well, when you follow leads to the conclusion, only the truth remains. However, if the information doesn't line up properly, I may stray far from the truth as well, and suffer a fucking brain aneurysm. But if I think carefully before piecing leads together, the logic should flow. Well, let's get started with our investigation, shall we? Yes, sir! The basis of any good investigation is to examine everything, sir. I know that, and when I want to examine something, I simply use A when I'm next to it. Oh, if you ever feel lost and want to talk, just use Y, okay? I'll give you great, precise advice as an ace investigator, sir. Something to try later if I have free time, I suppose. God, look at him fucking zooming across his room. I hope we can solve this case quickly. I'd like to return to relaxing on this sofa. That thing looks a billion times softer than my mattress at home. Can I sit on it too? Just for a little while, sir? Detective Gumshoe, you know I can't allow that. You don't know how many stains this poor couch has seen. Until this case is solved, neither of us has the time to spare, let alone rest. You're right, sir. I'm gonna work hard and be a real trooper to the end. Even once this case is over, I don't think I can afford to take any time off. How's it coming along? Please, I need absolute silence. Fingerprint lifting is a delicate art. Well, I never. Do you have anything to report? Sir, yes, sir. Nothing out of the ordinary right now, sir. And yet, there's something right out of the ordinary in front of my eyes. Talk about a contradiction. Something out of the ordinary, huh? I should look around a bit more. What have we here? Could this perhaps be the murder weapon? If so, it would mean that the killer made their escape after disposing of their gun here. I think I've seen one of these before. Huh. Care to enlighten me as to where? Oh, I know. I was issued the exact same model. I think. Detective. I don't really like guns all that much. I mean, they're really dangerous. But now that I think about it, you do see this model around the precinct a lot, sir. I didn't use mine much except in emergencies, so that's why I didn't recognize it. So it's the same type of revolver as the ones used by this precinct's detectives. Ouch! They even knocked over your chess set. I had it all set up, ready to go when you got back. I figured we could play a few games. I had no idea you were interested in chess. I'm actually pretty good at checkers, so I thought I'd give chess a try. In that case, I suppose I can set aside some time after we solve this case. Though I don't expect the games to tax my mental acuity much. They finished photographing the body, so it should be alright to examine this area. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. What do we have here? Hey, I think I've seen one of these before. It's a police badge, detective. Oh, hey, I had the exact same thing, actually. What a coinkydink. Let's take a look inside. Mr. Buddy Faith. It would appear that our victim was a detective, just like you. I seem to have gathered a few pieces of pertinent information. Now to calmly use some logic and figure out if any of them are connected to each other. Your files are all over the floor, sir. They probably fell during the struggle between the victim and his killer. Oh, and I tried so hard to keep this place spotless while you were away. I mean, this just rendered all the time and effort I put in pointless. I don't recall ever asking you to clean my room. Well, I watered the flowers every day, just like you requested, sir. I just added cleaning to the list as a weekend special. For about half a day every Saturday, I'd come in and clean this place until it sparkled. Does he have a life? Let's see here. There's blood all over his lower abdominal area. Looks like the bullet passed clean through his stomach area, sir. In other words, he was shot. Yup, and until the autopsy's done, I don't think we'll know much more than that. Please have the body sent to the morgue once they're done processing the crime scene. Are you going to be okay with keeping track of the evidence we find, sir? Of course. This is the safest way I know to keep track of it all. Alright, if you say so. I keep all the evidence I find either in or with my organizer. When I want to re-examine a piece, I have but to press RB to open my organizer. But the organizer isn't only for evidence. I keep people's profiles on hand in it too. It's probably a good idea to make a habit of checking the facts often. Whoa, that took a sec to open. I don't believe it. I packed those files on these shelves so tight that not even an earthquake can make them fall off, but just look at them. At this rate, the rest of the files won't be able to withstand an earthquake at all. A problem, to be sure. Well, once the investigation's over, we'll put them back on the shelf. Ah, watch out for the teacup fragments there, sir. That killer's going to pay. This tea set. Yikes, you're really mad over this. This tea set is very dear to my heart. I can only bought in England. It costs more than your whole month's paycheck. What? Now I feel like the killer's wasted one of my monthly paychecks. Oh, it's your trophy, the Knights of Prosecutors, right? King of Prosecutors. And it's not a trophy, it's a shield. They only send this to the winning prosecutor, right? Yes, but I have no real interest in the perceived worth of other people. As for my own worth, that is something only I can determine for myself. That's so slick, sir. I'm gonna have to try saying that sometime. Unfortunately for him, his monetary worth is directly tied to his worth to me. Is this yet another batch of fresh flowers? The ones that come with a card attached every month like clockwork for you? Yup. Speaking of that, let's see what's on the card this month, sir. All will be resolved. Wendy. Oh, Miss Irony, how painful are thy thorns. Wendy. Isn't that the name of that old lady with the whiny voice that's stock? That's enough, detective. You need not remind me further. Well, it's a good thing my steel samurai doll was spared any harm. Speaking of which, I still haven't actually sat down and watched any of that show. What's it about again? Well, I don't know much about it myself, but the hero of the Steel Samurai, Warrior of New Old Jokyo, is the Steel Samurai, and its goal is to defeat the evil magistrate. It's a show geared towards kids, however, its high production values and riveting plot draws in a number of adults as well. Spin-offs like Pink Princess, Warrior of Little Old Tokyo, and The Nickel Samurai, along with the deluge of merchandise and even a new stage show gives it presence. You sure know a lot. Are you sure you're not some sort of rabid fanboy? Of course not. Anyone that keeps up with society knows at least this much. And that conversation lasted longer than expected. Let us return to the investigation. All right, back up, Gumshoe. I'm gonna use logic. Victim was a detective, and the revolver used by detectives. Oh, damn. Oh. Oh. Sorry about that. The revolver, the standard model used by detectives. Could it belong to our recently departed? Detective Gumshoe, could you please thoroughly check the victim's body one more time? Yes, sir. On it now, sir. Excuse me, pal. Let's see. What have we got here? Mr. Edgeworth, sir. This guy's wearing a gun holster. So it appeared that our killer somehow managed to take the victim's gun from him. Let us see what else we can find out about this revolver. As I always say, you gotta look really carefully at each piece of evidence. You can choose the right stick to rotate an object. There's no such thing as a bad angle. Use LB and RB to zoom in and out to get at the nitty-gritty. To think that it's so easy to take a life with just the pull of a trigger. No, I can't ever see myself really liking guns. Oh, but I love the ones they use at track and field meets to start races. If you take off before it's fired, everybody always ends up following your lead. To chase you down for a false start, detective. Now that you mention it, even when I finish first, I always end up in last place. It looks like only one round was fired from this. Wow, so the killer killed the Vic with just one shot after wresting the gun from him? Sounds like the guy knew how to handle a gun, huh, Mr. Edgeworth? We have no proof for now, but that is a distinct possibility. I guess this is about all we're about to find out. We should send the body to Jim! Why? Oh, why? How could this have happened to a guy like you? Are you alright? Don't touch me! Leave me alone! Just let me be! Sorry, but I can't do that. The investigation is still ongoing, so please refrain from touching the body. The body? The body? Don't talk about him like he's just some lump of flesh! Look at him. Jim looks like he's just turned in for the night. Sure. Just in a bloodstained suit, pal. Where are my manners? Aren't you that prosecutor? Why, yes, I am. I'm Jacques Portsman, prosecutor. Jim here was my partner in crime busting. I'm Miles Edgeworth, and like you, I am also a prosecutor. Detective Dick Gumshoe, sir. So, you're Miles Edgeworth. I guess this is your office? Yes, that is correct. Then it was you! You're the one who killed Jim! Hey, don't go around jumping to conclusions, pal. Just calm down, okay? I will not! I know how things work around here. High prosecutor's office doors all have locks built into them. And only the owner of the office has keys to his or her own office door. That is correct. However, I was not the one who killed your partner. Yeah, Mr. Edgeworth's been overseas on a business trip this whole time, pal. And the key to the door was with me the entire time, okay? So the only one who could get in here was me. Ho, 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 ho. Wait, that means... I'm not sure what that means. So it was you then! You're Jim's killer! No way, pal, you got it all wrong. Everyone calm down! Ugh. Mr. Portsman, correct? If you're a real prosecutor, you should know to stay collected. The investigation has only just begun. Isn't it too early to be drawing conclusions? Alright, I get the point. You're right, my mistake. I tend to get a little too hot-headed sometimes. You sure are one cool customer though, Mr. Edgeworth. I've heard all the rumors about you. You're the great genius prosecutor. You're something of a legend, you know. Anyway, let's call a truce and work together, okay? Now, how about a handshake to seal the deal? A pleasure to work with you. You guys were conducting your investigation, right? Sorry for barging in like that. Carry on, then. It's your room, after all. Thank you. I intend to. I just want a little more time to say goodbye to Jim. You there, sir. I want you to capture the scene on film for me. My final farewell to my partner, Jim. I should probably give them some space. Oh, don't want to do that. Mr. Portsman, a word if I may. Jim, I swear I'll find your killer and bring them to justice. You wait and see. It'll be for the both of us. Now then, you want to talk to me about something? No, that's alright. I feel like I'm interrupting their conversation. How's it coming along? Please, I need absolute silence. This picture is too important to mess up. I'll leave the man to his art. Ah, your jacket, sir. What's it doing on the floor? It must have fallen off the wall when the killer tried to threaten me by firing a round. So the killer not only shot the victim, but they shot your jacket as well? They dared to shoot the ultra-special jacket you made your prosecutorial debut in? What if they'd shot through it? It would have been a disaster. It's not worth getting worked up over, Detective. Not when there's something more here. Huh? Like what? I take it you haven't noticed it yet, Detective? There is a giant contradiction right here in front of us. Really? Did I say contradiction? He must be rubbing off on me. I'm starting to sound like him. I've spent too much time in bed with him on that couch. Ugh. Damn that blue-suited, spiky-haired man. I can't get him out of my mind. Man. Maybe it's the fact that I've been doing like a consistent stream schedule, or the fact that I'm constantly voicing these characters, but my voice, or my throat, is definitely killing me a little. We'll just go as far as we can. I'd like to get to the end of the first case, but we'll see what happens. but I have my own methods, and I will conduct this investigation my way. When the scene before me contradicts a piece of evidence, or seems off, that's when my deductive skills come into play. First, I have to find the spot that holds the contradiction. This is it. The bullet hole is where the contradiction lies. When I spot something that's off, I should point my cursor at it and press deduce with conviction. When I have found sufficient proof to prove the contradiction, I present it. This is how I do things. Eureka! This bullet hole is the contradiction. What do you mean, sir? It's elementary. 2 shots were fired in this room. The first felled the victim, and the second felled this frame. Hey, that's right. However, this gun was only fired once. Hey, that's true too. Which means that one of these 2 bullets was fired from a different gun. Did the killer have another gun prepared for tonight? By the way, I noticed something, sir. Yes? What's that thing sticking out from behind the frame? Ah, that. It's a secret safe. It's a secret safe. Oh, I smell money. I'll spare us the trouble and just say it. Nothing like what you're imagining is inside. Now, if you could kindly move this frame out of the way. Roger that. Achoo! Achoo! Talk about dusty. I suppose that's what happens when I'm not here to dust it once in a while. I had no idea there was a safe here. I'd have kept it clean for you, sir. So, once you put this thing in, it wasn't something I had installed personally. Every prosecutor's office has one. Really? I had no idea. Well, only prosecutors are supposed to have knowledge of their existence. So what's inside, Mr. Edgeworth? Right now, nothing. We only use them to store especially important evidence when a trial is in session. That's it. Talk about squashing my hopes and dreams. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. I never knew there was a safe hidden back here. Well, if detectives knew about them, they wouldn't be secret now, would they? Are there any other secret hidden things in this room? Even if there were, it would defeat the purpose of them being hidden if I told you. So don't bother looking for them. So there's no, like, hidden camera around, right? And what if there was? No, it's nothing. Forget I said anything. Do I even want to ask what he's been doing in my office while I've been away? Now this is odd. You found something, sir? This keypad, don't you find it a bit too clean? Yeah, there's a thick layer of dust all around it, but not on the keypad itself. You there, the forensic scientist. Yes, sir. Could you please dust this area for fingerprints? You got it, sir. I couldn't find, let alone lift a single print. Looks like it was wiped down well. As I thought, it appears that logic is the only way around this setback. Time to rationally and calmly connect the dots with the information we have. Alright, I'm about to do my epic move. What was the killer after? Probably that. I gotta say, I really missed like the little swirling animation from the original DS version. The puzzle pieces connected together is nice, but it's not nearly as flashy. Well, what is it, sir? The fact that the safe was wiped clean of fingerprints suggests that the criminal had at least attempted to open my safe, making the culprit's motive for breaking and entering theft, I believe. I wonder if knowing that the motive behind this break-in was theft changes what the other piece of information can tell me about this crime. Struggle and theft? There is a possibility that the files splayed on the floor are not the result of a struggle between the victim and his killer. Oh, you mean like it could be from when the killer tried to find something, sir? Precisely. We need to figure out if any of the files have been stolen. Yes, sir. I'm gonna shelve files like you've never seen before, even at a library. Sure. Let's give that a try. Why? Why do all the good ones always die young? Surely you must ponder that every once in a while, Mr. Edgeworth. No matter how much we lament, the dead will not come back to life. All we can do is search for the truth. And? So what are we supposed to do? How do we go about finding the truth? First, we calmly restore the files to their rightful place. You got it. Here, let me help. So this file goes here, and that book goes there. You sure know a lot about where things go, despite it being Mr. Edgeworth's office. Because I'm the one who keeps it tidy, pal, okay? Done. It would appear that the murderer was committed here. Ugh, the bloodstains on the bookshelf are still fresh. I suspect that the victim was killed in a standing position, hence the prints on the shelf. And then the guy fell on the floor, right? The blood on the floor is kinda grossing me out. Detective, I don't have time to deal with your weak stomach right now. Ugh, but you know I'm no good with blood, sir. I'm certain there's something wrong with this picture. It appears that the victim was in a sitting position here after being shot. Oh, so that's why the seat of the victim's pants has blood on it. That would be the logical conclusion. I put them all back, just as they should be, sir. Doesn't look like anything's missing. Although it does look like the killer moved the body to flip through my shelves. I wonder if they found what they were looking for. The victim's handprints. He must have tried to support himself with his hands here after being shot. There are prints on the floor. There are prints on the floor, too. Those must have been made when, unable to stay standing, he dropped to the floor. The killer moved the body because it was leaning against the bookshelf. The blood on this guy's pants proves that pretty well. In a sense, I suppose. See? I'm not completely useless, Mr. Edgeworth. So this is where the bullet lodged itself after it went through the victim, huh? For the bullet to be lodged so squarely in a file's spine indicates that the files were ransacked after the shooting had occurred. Then I guess the victim was moved because he was in the killer's way. Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? Well, he was shot in the abdomen, so... Eureka! There is clearly a contradiction here with this bullet hole. What do you mean, sir? You don't see. Quite simply, the bullet hole itself is too low. If the victim was shot in the stomach, the hole should be much higher up. But what if the guy was shot while he was sitting or lying down, sir? That would be illogical. The victim leaned against the shelf here after being shot, which suggests that he was standing when he was shot. Then that means... Wait, what does that mean, sir? It means you need to use your brain every once in a while instead of mine, detective. In any case, it means someone made a faulty assumption. And it's from this mistake that our current contradiction was born. What is the faulty assumption that caused this problem with the bullet hole's position? Let's see. Let's go with the order of the files. I believe the order of the files is a bit off. You mean I put them back in the wrong order just now? Hey, actually, I think the labels on the files are wrong, sir. Oh? Yeah, you see here how the files that were shot begin with the number 0? What are those doing all the way down there after 1, 2, and 3? That's really weird. Actually, the way they are organized now is the correct order. They're exactly as I see them in my mind's eye. But the numbers are all out of order. Those white binders are special, so they are arranged a little differently. But from this, we know that the files were not in this order when the crime occurred. Aha, so that's it. I believe the killer made the same incorrect assumption as you just did, Detective. Let's rearrange the finals in numerical order and see what we find out. Do you think it'd be okay to prop the body back up to how it was before it was moved? They finished processing the crime scene, so I don't see why it wouldn't be. If you please, Detective Gumshoe. As I suspected, the bullet hole is now where it should logically be. The killer went through my files first before shooting Mr. Faith. And then put the files back in numerical order, I guess. Exactly, and then proceeded to shoot the victim. But why would someone kill a man and then look through your files one more time? Puzzling indeed. The files were thrown into disarray twice, once before and once after the crime. But why? Now the crime scene as it was at the time of the murder. Time to give it another look. God damn it, not this shit again! This. What is that? Why does it say Gumshoe on there in blood? I'd say that's some incredibly incriminating evidence. Yes, indicative of criminal activity indeed. No, wait, there's gotta be some mistake! Mr. Edgeworth, sir, help me! Say something, sir! It appears that one of my files was stolen. You are fucked. Is that all, sir? What about me, in my situation? Is this what the killer was really after? Damn, Gumshoe is pissed. Looks like Jim was able to leave us the name of his killer in the end. And this most important message managed to reach us. I'm telling you, it wasn't me! You can't be terribly pleased to hear that your beloved partner is the guilty party. If you're going to accuse Detective Gumshoe of being the culprit, I sincerely hope you have some proof to back it up. Jim's words, they're more than enough, wouldn't you say? If that's how you want to play it, then at least allow me to understand your reasoning. You got it! I don't like this one bit. There's something strange about this man's attitude. He's smiling an awful lot after seeing his partner dying. And there must be some sort of flaw to his logic waiting for me to dig out. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you going to do? What I always do in court. I'm going to serve cunt. I mean, cross-examine him. One way or another, I'll expose the flaw in his logic with this technique. Ooh, how do you do that? Can you explain it to me, sir? Fuck no, I don't want to. Mr. Portsman, if you are ready. Oh, if you don't have time, you could just say so, sir. Mr. Portsman's logic. Detective Gumshoe, you stole Jim's gun from him and shot him dead. Furthermore, you messed up the files to make it look like you'd committed theft instead. That's when you moved Jim's body that was sitting in front of the bookshelf. Thanks to that, you didn't notice the bloody letters his body was hiding. And it'll be by his final words that you'll be brought to justice. You intend to argue that the victim's dying message points to his killer? I can hear Jim's voice, and he's calling for his killer's arrest! And you're sure you're not mishearing his words, Mr. Portman? Perhaps he's saying, fuck, this guy did it, kill him! There's no way Detective Gumshoe is the culprit here? I will find the flaw in this man's logic and expose it with credible evidence.
Hold it!
You know, there's something I've been meaning to ask. What is it? Why do you call the victim Jim, when clearly his name is Buddy Faith? Isn't it obvious? Jim is the perfect name for my companion. Jacques and Jim. Don't those two names go together like peanut butter and jelly? But Jim isn't even close to the guy's real name. Well, Jacques and Buddy just sounds off somehow. Besides, he was the third of a bunch of guys I decided to nickname Jim. He talks about the victim like he was his pet.
Hold it!
Do you really think it was necessary to dishevel my shelves twice to do that? That's true. Okay, then maybe his real intent was theft. Hey, are you accusing me of stealing something from Mr. Edgeworth? It's a possibility. Maybe your salary's been cut so much that life's getting a little too rough to handle. I'll have you know that I eat 3 square meals a day, pal. Okay, so all 3 of them happen to be instant noodles, but... Poor thing. What an evil prosecutor you were paired up with. And what a motive, no?
Hold it!
And why would Detective Gumshoe do such a thing? Because the body was getting in his way. He had to mess up your bookshelf somehow, right? Anyway. Yeah, I already read that.
Hold it!
Why do you think that the killer didn't notice the bloody letters? The body was covering it quite well, wouldn't you say? That's how he missed it. Also, the detective's kind of stupid, don't you think? But judging what I've seen, it doesn't take much for your detective to miss something. Who do you think you are? You know nothing about me, pal. There's a lot a person can understand about another from first impressions alone. I can't say I disagree with him on that point. Why don't you say something, sir? Not you too, Mr. Edgeworth! Despite its lack of attention to detail, I don't believe the detective to be the culprit. Nobody could have overlooked the bloody letters, and I can prove it with evidence. I couldn't ask for a better setup. Whoops, did I say that out loud? For the game-finishing spike. Saved it.
Hold it!
Are you saying that those letters were intended for you? Yup, Jim was an outstanding detective. I would expect no less from my former partner. It looks like Mr. Portsman still doesn't understand. He has yet to figure out the true meaning behind the bloody letters. What are you sputtering over there? Can't you just admit my logic is perfectly sound? Actually, there's a gigantic flaw in his logic. Blah, blah, blah.
Hold it!
Oops. Alright.
Objection!
Perhaps you're not aware, Mr. Portsman, but there's a serious flaw in your logic. Heh, bringing in a bit of the courtroom into this. I see. No problem. I'm game. I can't help but find it odd. Excuse me? Odd that a fellow prosecutor would be brought down by the power of his own office. What are you talking about? Oh, you're joking. I get it. Ha ha ha. Oh shit, it's the new arranged music. If you have the time to laugh, then you have the time to take another, closer look at this. Do you still not see? If not, may I direct your attention to the missing file? What? That's impossible! What's impossible, Mr. Portsman? Nothing. The files on that shelf are all about a certain case. When the killer went to take the file after murdering your partner, I highly doubt they could have missed the bloody letters written on the spines.
Objection!
It's possible they could have taken the file before committing the murder. I think it's pretty obvious that the file was stolen after it was written on. The missing letters in the detective's name where the file should be is proof. Yeah, I mean, the S is gone, and there's only half an H. If Detective Gumshoe really was the culprit of this case, I highly doubt that even he could overlook his own name written in blood on the files. Especially as a detective who can't stand the sight of blood. Ah! Which means, what exactly? What does that make of this dying message? It makes it the work of criminal intent on tampering with the crime scene. That's so low. I can't believe the criminal tried to pin this whole thing on me, sir. I'm gonna get him, sir. You'll see. I'm gonna have them under arrest in no time. Well, Mr. Portsman? Brilliant! Absolutely splendid. Logic deserving of Olympic gold. I appreciate the praise, but it doesn't change the fact that your reasoning is flawed. Meh, you win some and you lose some. That's how life goes. Glad everyone's so cheery, even though I feel more dead than alive. But you know, it really is a shame. I really didn't want to have to bring this up, however. What is it this time? Are you still after me, pal? Humor me for a second. Who has the key to this office? That would be me. But Mr. Edgeworth just proved that I'm innocent, pal. Heh. That's absolutely right, and I acknowledge your innocence. Then why do I get the sense you still have something to say? Well, I was thinking. Did you know there's one other person with a key to this office? One other person? Hey, you there. Yes, sir. What is it, sir? Would you kindly fetch and escort that lovely young lady here for me? A lady? The girl is a member of this building's security. Think of her as a material witness. Security? Did you say security? No, stop it, pal! Don't! What's wrong with him all of a sudden? I believe she needs no introduction. I've called upon Miss Maggie Bird, a member of security. Detective Gumshoe, sir. Maggie! Miss Bird is the security guard on watch tonight. I see. And your point is? My point is that she could very well have used it. And by it, I mean the master key, which can open all the office doors in this building. What? If you're not the guilty party, Detective Gumshoe, then the only other person with access to this room is Miss Bird. How dare you? I'd never sneak into someone's room. That's right. I refuse to believe that Maggie's the culprit, pal. It was me. That's right. I did it. Can't we take that as a confession, Detective? Well, it wasn't really me, but it definitely wasn't Maggie, pal. So yeah, it was me. If it was, you'd have no problems with that, right? Please refrain from flying off the handle, Detective. There's no need for such theatrics. Listen to your boss, Detective. He understands what I'm saying here. That girl's the only one who could have committed the crime, and for one simple reason. It's pretty obvious that Maggie Bird stuck into your room using the master key. I mean, if Detective Gumshoe is the one who opened the door, then that leaves only Miss Bird as our prime suspect. On top of which, she knows our good detective, doesn't she? Making it all the more probable that she was the one who faked the dying message. So you're saying she used the master key? Incredibly incriminating evidence, wouldn't you say? That's what you claimed about the evidence earlier as well. That was then, this is now. The flow of a good match always changes during a rally. It's all about your reflexes and reaction time, especially for an athlete like me. I wonder if there was anyone else other than Miss Bird who could have used the master key. It seems that the only way to get Mr. Portsman to give us more details is to press him.
Hold it!
Are you sure Miss Bird is the only member of security who could have used the master key? There's only one person on staff at this time of night, and tonight, she's it. Isn't that right, Miss Bird? That's, true, but I wasn't able to use the master key at the time of the crime, sir! Wasn't able to? What's that supposed to mean? Yes, moving on. I'd hate to get sidetracked by something unrelated. What do you mean unrelated? I want to hear what she has to say, pal. But you can't really trust her not to tell lies. Plus, I hate wasting time. Should I hear Miss Bird out? Yeah. Not so fast. I too am interested in hearing what Miss Bird has to say. Didn't I just say it'd be a waste of time? We don't need to hear her lies. Lock her up already. I'll be the judge of that, Miss Bird, if you please. I discovered the master key was missing around 1 a.m., sir. What do you mean by missing? As in, it wasn't anywhere in the security booth, sir. The killer must have stolen it. Mr. Portsman, I believe this to be an important piece of testimony, don't you? I can't believe someone like you would be taken in by such words. I'm not lying, sir.
Objection!
If that's the case, then I'd like to know. Why do you have the master key now? I don't quite know. It just reappeared all of a sudden, sir. Ha! Likely story. And where's your proof that the key was stolen to begin with? I bet you just forgot where you put it and then found it again. I never lose things. I can practically guarantee that. With me, if something disappears, it's usually because someone stole it. Yeah, pal, trust me. You don't want to test just how bad her luck is. Unfortunately, I can't deem this piece of testimony as conclusive. Glad you agree, Mr. Edgeworth. But... You still haven't established Maggie's motive for breaking into Mr. Edgeworth's office. Her motive? Didn't we already establish it was theft? I mean, the culprit clearly went through the bookshelves and at least tried the safe. It is as Mr. Portman says, Detective. I can't ignore the fact that all the evidence points towards a motive of theft. But I'm done taking blows. It's time to counteract with a few facts of my own. One moment. I concur that the culprit's motive appears to have been thievery, however. Glad to hear the great Miles Edgeworth is in agreement with little old me. However, with regards to the investigation of the bookshelves and safe, hey, good thinking asking for my opinion on the matter. Would it be too much for you to allow me to complete a full sentence?
Hold it!
I thought we'd established Detective Gumshoe's innocence pretty thoroughly. It's just a theory, one hypothesis among the many possibilities. I mean, I had my doubts about Miss Bird from the very beginning. If that's the case, why didn't you mention her first? Now, don't make that face. See? There goes the truth, running the other way. Let's pick up the pace and see if we can't catch up to it. I don't think you're catching my drift. But we are in agreement that the detective isn't the killer, right? If so, then I hope you'll understand when I say that since she's the only one who could have opened your office door, then that leaves only Miss Bird as our prime suspect. Don't you think it's a bit early to be jumping to conclusions? Are you saying there's another way to open the door other than with the master key? Oh, I get it. Perhaps you had a spare made for someone else. I'll have you know, I have never made a spare. So what are you insinuating? Nothing. Guess I should have known better than to suggest that someone like you would.
Hold it!
Is there anyone in this district who hasn't at least heard of Detective Gumshoe? Good point. He's practically a celebrity among us prosecutors. Really? I never knew I was so talked about, sir. We're holding our collective breath, you know. For when you screw up so badly, you're literally chased off the force. Wait, what? Is that true, Mr. Edgeworth? Is that why I'm not in the Apollo Justice trilogy? Of course not. That's hogwash. Whew, don't scare me like that. I almost had a heart attack there. Making it all that more probable that she was the one who faked the dying message. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and present some evidence! I would love to, but first we should listen a bit more and digest what he's saying, and press him for more information. Whoops, losing track.
Hold it!
A dying message, you mean the bloody letters that spell out Gumshoe? I figured that out. I figured that whoever wrote his name must have wanted to frame him. And just the act of choosing his name is proof enough that the two knew each other well. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and present some evidence!
Hold it!
Are you sure Miss Bird's the only member of security who could have used the master key? There's only one person at staff this time of night, and tonight she's it. Isn't that right, Miss Bird? That's, true, but... That's right, we were able to... already did this. Let's go back to this.
Objection!
Yeah, I can't think of the deal. Besides, Maggie doesn't have any reason to want to sneak into Mr. Edgeworth's office. You mean her motive? Did we already establish it was theft? Okay, wait, we did already talk about this. Okay, there's probably something here. Thievery.
Objection!
Yeah, she don't know about the safe, motherfucker. Do you wish to continue insinuating that Miss Bird was set on stealing something? Why not? It's the truth, after all. It was also by your logic that we came to the whole thievery conclusion anyway. That may be, but you must also be aware of the fact that the safe is a secret safe, the existence of which is only privy to prosecutors. Ah! Find it a little hard to believe that a hidden safe was part of her cunning plan. But she could have found it by accident while she was turning everything else upside down. I highly doubt that. I'd say the culprit knew exactly what they were looking for. After all, only the bookshelf and the safe were targeted. Yeah, even I didn't know about that safe, pal. And that means there's no way Maggie could have known about it either. Then are you proposing that the killer is a prosecutor? Interesting conclusion. That's definitely looking more and more probable. What's wrong, prosecutor? Do you have a different suspect in mind now? Curses! Why? What made you? What's with the angry face all of a sudden? It's all my fault. What do you mean? It's Jim. He knew about the existence of the secret safes. What did you just say? We were partners, like inseparable conjoined twins. Partners, but not in a gay way. That's what I told him. I filled him in on the secret safes. Then that means... Yeah, I know. I'd only just told him too. Obviously it was wrong of me to tell him. I still can't quite believe it. But the thief who broke into your room was probably Jim. Now he's claiming that the victim was the thief. And you were simply trying to stop him, weren't you? Miss Maggie Bird. Excuse me? I mean, you are a security guard, right? That's your job. But killing's going a bit too far, even in your risky profession. What the? You're still accusing Maggie of the murder? Yes and no. I mean, she had stumbled upon Jim, who probably drawn his gun. I get it. It was self-defense, wasn't it? No, I couldn't. I could never do something like that. Not even as a security guard, sir. Plus, even if he was the thief, he wouldn't have a key to this office. Which is precisely why he had to steal it, wouldn't you say? It was Jim who stole the master key. Ah! Pretty impossible for a supposedly stolen key to be here with us unless... Well, unless you retrieved it from Jim after you killed him. Mr. Portsman, are you honestly accusing your own partner of being a thief? I don't want to admit it, but it's the only way for everything else to make sense. Has he no honor? Now then, I think we're done here. The investigation waits for no man. Would you people be so kind as to see yourselves out? You can't kick us out. This is Mr. Edgeworth's office. Ah, but I'm the one who's been assigned to this case. You're all suspects to varying degrees, and therefore ineligible to run this show. Listen, pal, how many times do I have to say this? Maggie can't be the culprit. Detective Gumshoe, calm yourself. But sir, we have no choice but to accommodate his request. For now. Haha, thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. At least one of you understands. Now then, if you could remove yourselves from my crime scene, I'd be most grateful. Humph, mark my words, Mr. Portsman, we will meet again. If that's a formal request from the legendary prosecutor himself, then I suppose so. Now don't disappoint me, you hear? To be continued. Alright. Alright, I'm gonna take a short break, rest my voice a little bit, then we're gonna continue. Be right back. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about the wait. I just had to go and get myself a quick coffee, something warm to soothe my throat, some fresh water, just because we're only about a third of the way through this case. Oh, tutorial cases tend to be pretty short, but, you know, reading out these character lines takes a bit of a toll. So let's just get back onto it. Oh, it would help if I tapped back into the game. What is with that prosecutor? I can't believe how rude he was. It was unbelievable. Please maintain your professionalism, detective. I'm gonna find some real solid evidence proving Maggie's innocence. You'll see, sir. But we've been kicked out of the crime scene, sir. True. So then, what now? Looks like my life's fallen into yet another gigantic ditch. Do not despair, Miss Bird. We can overcome this as well. There are many other places and things we should be looking into anyway. Really, sir? For example, this hallway. The linchpin of his argument against Miss Bird is related to the master key. In that case, this hallway is the perfect place to look for more information regarding the mystery surrounding my door. Apologies in advance if you hear coffee slurping noises. Yes, I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Look at these look at these cushions. A well-crafted, high-quality sofa for visitors. The stitching is excellent. Talk about a luxury waiting area. These babies are also great for napping, you know. You would sleep even out here, detective. In a hallway. Whenever I do, I always wind up dreaming about giving testimony up on the stand. But it always ends the same way. Me getting trounced up by a lawyer. Isn't that awful? Maybe I should give it a try sometime. To envision myself getting trounced by Phoenix Wright. I mean, by envisioning myself winning, naturally. It's... isn't that missing Zero series file, sir? No doubt about it. The bloody letters mark it clear as day. There seem to be a few pages missing. Our thief took only what was necessary and left the rest behind. So what are these Zero files about, sir? I guess they've got something worth stealing in them, huh? Not particularly. It's just a collection of court case files. However, the cases within these files are not mine. Huh? They belong to the High Prosecutor that used to occupy my current office. I have my reasons, but let's just say I was charged with keeping them as they were. Then that means the thief must have also wanted the file for a specific reason, right? It would seem so. Only the pages related to that case from 10 years ago are missing. I wonder why anyone would care about such an old case. I don't see any signs of forced entry. And according to the guard, no signs that the lock was picked either, sir. Meaning that the door was really opened with a key. Did you happen to ask if any prints were lifted from the doorknob? Apparently, the doorknob's clean as a whistle. Wiped, they think. Whoever this thief is, they did a good job of not leaving any clues behind. 1202. These 4 numbers on a number plate alone proclaim this to be my office. Whoops! Hey, these number plates slide right out, sir. They have to be able to take the plate off when a room becomes vacant, you know? Excuse me. Although, the idea that it can be so easily removed is kind of... A minimalist yet classy door made of top-quality wood. It's sturdily made, making it near impossible to break in by force. It's almost majestic, sir. I wish I could be as stately as this door. Only Gumshoe would praise a door as something greater than himself. Being a detective has its own rewards, and a certain virtuous value, I think. If you live up to your full potential, that's a poignant trait that anyone can admire. I see. So you're saying, sir, that me being me is the best thing I can do for everyone. Right. That long pause wasn't exactly reassuring, sir. I was wondering if I may speak with you for a bit concerning this case. I've always been a big fan of the courtroom, but this is like a dream where I'm being cross-examined by the Miles Edgeworth. I can't let this chance pass me by. I must remember to ask her about the master key. I should jog her memory by showing my notes to her with why. Have you ever met the victim before? Well, I've seen him in a couple of times before when I had to go to Mr. Portsman's office. Mr. Faith is always playing basketball with Mr. Portsman, sir. That sounds like fun. Just once I'd love to have played with them. It sounds fun, but the only other person ever taking a shot was Mr. Portsman. All Mr. Faith ever did was pass him the ball, sir. On second thought, I don't think I'd have fit in that well with them. Miss Maggie Bird, correct? I take it that you're an acquaintance of the detective. She was under my supervision back when she was still on the force, sir. One day she got caught up in a murder, and things started going downhill, so she quit. But I owe a lot to Detective Gumshoe for introducing me to my current employer. Or so I thought, until a few hours ago. Right before I was about to clock out for the night, you got caught up in this whirlwind of a case, correct? Don't worry, my whole life has been nothing but a whirlwind of bad luck and failures. Huh? Since I was 6 months old, when I fell from the 9th floor of my apartment building, I've been hit by all sorts of vehicles, gotten sick from all sorts of foods, failed at almost every type of test I've taken, experienced almost every kind of disaster. And now I even managed to be named a criminal, just when I become a security guard. That's a lot to go through in one lifetime. I know! And just when I thought I finally found happiness, I wind up getting you and Detective Gumshoe involved in my bad luck. You don't need to worry about me, Miss Bird, nor do you need to worry about yourself. I will solve this case and prove your innocence. All I ask in return is for your cooperation. Yes, sir, Mr. Edgeworth, you can count on me. I'll do all I can to help. So, when did you discover the master key was missing? By the time I realized it, I think it was around 1 a.m., sir. And I noticed it was back around 2:30 a.m. It was just sitting there on the ledge where the security room's reception window is. But I'm sure that between those two times, it was not just gone, but stolen, sir. Why is such an important key stored in such an insecure place? It's not like that, sir. We always keep the key further inside the room, away from the window. Always, you say? Except for this time, correct? Well, I admit that was a bit careless, but I had my reasons. I left it out because I was sorta using it at the time. It was after I had used it that I left it sitting out on the ledge. She used the master key. What did you mean by you used the master key? Oh, I had to use it to open the door for this prosecutor who had forgotten his key. I mean, it's my job as a security guard, right? Ah! What is it? That's right, I just remembered. The prosecutor who forgot his key? It was Mr. Portsman, sir. What? Please, tell me more, Miss Bird, quickly! It was around 12 a.m. Mr. Portsman had forgotten his office key, so he came down to security, sir. And that's when you loaned the master key to him. No way! It's against regulations to loan the master key out to anyone! I walked with Mr. Portsman to his office and opened the door for him personally, sir. I see. And then, what happened after that? Well, he called for me to come up close to his office, to come close up his office as he was leaving to go home. That was around 1:30 a.m., I think. So, in summary, for the sake of one forgetful prosecutor, you used the master key twice tonight. Talk about suspicious. I doubt you could say you've never left your keys at home, Detective. I think this calls for a thorough examination of Mr. Portsman's door. Oh my god, it's him! It looks like you're in quite the bench, Mr. Edgeworth. To be sure, a murder within the walls of the prosecutor's office is no trifling matter. We must find, apprehend, and punish the killer accordingly, post-haste. Sounds like a messy case you've got on your hands. If you ever feel lost or need some advice, my door is always open. How gracious. I will keep your offer in mind. Who is this guy again? I have no idea who this guy even is. Poor Winston Payne. Edgeworth doesn't even know he exists. Is everything alright? Yes, sir. If you must know, I weighed myself this morning and I'm finally at 154 pounds. Congratulations, but I was asking about this hallway in this room, you fucking twink. Oh, everything's okay, sir. A word of advice, stay focused or you may start to lose even more weight, you fucking twink. What is a basketball hoop doing here? Hey, didn't this used to be just outside next to the building a long time ago? So when and why was it moved indoors? I don't remember exactly, but I saw one of the officers drag it up here recently. Drag it? I heard it wouldn't fit in the elevator, so the poor guy had to bring it himself. All the way up to the 12th floor. What is a basketball doing here? That's Mr. Portman's prized possession, sir. I heard he also plays soccer, dodgeball, and even tennis. And not a single one of those sports is suitable to be played in a hallway. Room 1203. I take it that this is Mr. Portman's office. Yeah, you can't mistake it because of that basketball hoop, sir. Oh, that reminds me. Mr. Portman actually really wanted room 1202 really badly. But since you're already occupying it, Mr. Edgeworth, we put him next door, sir. So why was Mr. Portsman so particular about getting room 1202? I'm not sure, but I bet it's because of something like his birthday's December 2nd? Yup, that's gotta be it. Can't think of another reason why. I can think of at least 3. Bah, why am I even wasting time thinking about this? Okay, same door dialogue. Even Mr. Portsman seems dignified just because he works behind one of these. Nonsense. A man doesn't become more or less dignified because of where he works. Well, he still seems more dignified than Mr. Payne. Ouch! Damn. Mr. Payne? I suppose custodial work can also be dignified. Fucking Winston Payne is just catching multiple strays in this fucking game. Jesus Christ. The door is locked tight. I bet the old credit card trick wouldn't work here, huh, Mr. Edgeworth? This is the office of a high prosecutor detective. These doors would be pretty ineffective if the average cat burglar could get through them. Aha, so I guess only a great cat burglar could get in. That must be who our culprit is. Might I advise you to return to that conclusion to whatever pawn shop you bought it from? It's Mr. Portman's personal basketball hoop. I can't believe he put something like this in the hallway of a prosecutor's office. But you know, it's actually pretty useful, sir. I haven't gotten lost trying to get to your office since it's been here. How long have I had the same office and yet you still have managed to get lost? Let's see. Well, logic time. Miss Bird, I'm afraid there's a flaw in your story. What? No way, pal! I mean, sir. You said that you locked up Mr. Portman's office at around 1:30 a.m., correct? However, the master key had already been stolen at that time. Wow, nothing gets by you, Mr. Edgeworth. You saw that contradiction like a pro. I had totally forgotten all about that, but thanks to you, I remember it now. You're right, it was around that very time that I realized the master key was missing. And? Well, I'm a security guard, sir. I couldn't just admit to losing the master key, could I? So I pretended to lock up his room. Sir. You pretended? Yeah, I used my house key and made it look like I was locking up, sir. So in actuality, you never did relock the door then. Well, I thought that maybe I could go lock it after I found the key. Come to think of it, I guess the door still hasn't been locked properly. The door is locked tight. This is a contradiction.
Eureka!
There's a contradiction here between reality and the evidence. If what Miss Bird has said is true, then why is this door locked tight? Huh? You know you're right. Miss Bird, are you sure you didn't relock this door? I'm certain of it, sir. And I don't think Mr. Portsman noticed it himself that I hadn't. Which means what, sir? It either means that he actually does have the key to his office, or that the door Miss Bird opened wasn't this one at all, but a completely different one. She opened a different door, but how can you prove that? There's an easy way to find out. All we need to do is, we need to examine these. The prints on the doorknob will tell us everything. Hey you, yeah you pal, do us a favor and see what you can lift from this, okay? So, what'd you find out? There's no need for such belligerent nostril flaring, detective. Sir, I found only Mr. Portman's and Mr. Faith's prints on this doorknob. So only 2 people's prints were found on this, huh? That's pretty decisive. Huh? I'm lost, sir. Thinking logically, a certain other person's print should be on this knob as well. Miss Maggie Bird.
Take that!
Don't you find it odd that the prints of the person who unlocked this door are absent? You mean... Yes, the door that Miss Bird opened could not have been this one, but a different one. What have we here? I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny, like this basketball! Is this basketball property of Mr. Portsman? Yes, sir, he's always ready for a match. Basketball, soccer, dodgeball, tennis, doesn't matter what sport it is, he's game. I even heard he did shooting at the Olympics. Although I think it'd be a little hard to play tennis with this ball, ho ho. That isn't the point you should be focusing on, detective. You're right, sir. Now I know what I should be focusing on. Bad Mr. Portsman. Someone should teach him to clean his toys up after he's done playing. I think we've reached the end of this conversation. What is this? Looks like a scrap of paper. I'll get it, sir. Let's see. Oh, there's something written on it. It looks like a note from the victim. I brought the 3 pieces of evidence by, just like we talked about on the phone. But it looks like, excuse me, you're out. Guess I'll catch up to you later, buddy. Yeah, and it's for Mr. Portsman. What's this? What are you looking at, sir? Oh, hey, how about a game? That's okay, detective. I just found the position of this hoop to be a little off. Hey, you're right, sir. I guess it shifted when someone made a seriously sweet slam dunk. The positioning of the hoop is definitely unnatural. I better take note of this. Poking around in this hallway has actually paid off quite handsomely. How so, sir? In a variety of different ways. I think it's time we had a little chat with the real culprit of this case. You know who the killer is? Wow, Mr. Edgeworth. As long as my logic is sound, then yes. The mastermind behind this murder is none other than Mr. Portsman. What? Mr. Portsman? I knew it. That's exactly what my logic senses were telling me too. I suspected it was him from the instant he accused Maggie of being the killer, sir. That is anything but logical. Lady and gentleman, prepare yourselves. Come what may, it's time to knock on truth's door. Let me just take a quick swig of coffee. Mr. Portsman, I've finished processing the bloody letters, sir. Alright, let me take a gander at it. Pass it here. Okay, looking good. You there. Take good care of this. Grrrr! Well, if it isn't Detective Gumshoe. End of the line for you, Portsman. We've got you now. Call off your dog, Mr. Edgeworth. Is this some kind of joke? It's no joke. We know, Mr. Jacques Portsman, that you are the guilty party in this case. You must be pretty upset getting chased out of your own room. I'd be mad too. So I guess you can stay if you promise to stay out of our way. You intend to hide your crime under the guise of a prosecutor doing his job. I can see right through the unsightly paper-thin mask you wear upon your cowl. Haha, who never thought it would come to this? Actually, come to think of it, your mentor was Manfred von Karma, right? The legendary prosecutor never lost a single case for 40 long years. But there was always this incessant chatter about forged evidence with that guy. Really teaches me that I gotta stay on the lookout for false accusations, you know? Are you done trying to play mind games with me? Because they won't work. The only thing you should be using that mouth of yours now is explaining yourself. Although that too will only dig your hole deeper. Either way, your game is up. Well, aren't we full of ourselves, even though you've yet to prove anything? I have no idea what sort of harebrained idea you have in mind, but there's a mountain of evidence that points away from me being the culprit. Besides, how, may I ask, do you propose I unlocked your door and got in here? Look, I feel bad doing this to you, but I got work to do, so we're done here. Sorry, but we are not finished. Yet. Boy, you're stubborn. I suppose you're basing your accusations on something. I'll show you what I'm basing my accusation on, with evidence.
Hold it!
My accusation is a harebrained idea, is it? You tell me. I'd say it is, after all.
Hold it!
Oh, and what, pray tell, kind of evidence are you talking about here? Jim was my partner, so you can't say I had a motive for killing him. And that's it? That's not even an anthill, let alone a mountain. I'll have you know I want to kill Detective Gumshoe 100 times a day. But it's more than enough, wouldn't you agree? Might I recommend that you review what the word evidence means? It doesn't change the fact that the evidence doesn't point to me as the killer. Besides, blah blah blah.
Hold it!
Unfortunately, I believe I've already shown how earlier. Your speculations mean nothing, as I still insist that I could not gain access to your room. You claim to have had no way to open my door. However, is that really the honest truth? Alright, I'll humor you. Go ahead, shoot. Very well then, I propose that you use this to open my door.
Take that!
The fuck you talking about? And how do you propose I use this object to open your door? You, that is. It's okay. I know when someone's just grasping at straws. G'durk! What was it that Mr. Portsman used to gain entry into my office? I'd better take another look in my organizer. Look, I feel bad, blah, blah, blah. I don't think so. Oh, and why is that? Because there's a flaw in your reasoning. Are you calling me a liar? So, where's your proof? They're saying evidence is everything isn't limited to just the courtroom, you know. Humph, you need not remind me. I'll show you all the evidence you want in time.
Hold it! Take that!
Fuck me, I'm stupid. I just keep forgetting which specific piece it was.
Hold it!
Damn it.
Hold it! Take that!
There you go. It was the act of the master key. I believe you were able to open my office door with the master key, no less.
Objection!
Wait. Hold on for a sec. I never laid a finger on that key, as you already know. Precisely, you were able to open my door without lifting a single finger. Well, maybe you did, but only to direct. That's right. You used your finger to direct this person to open the door with the key.
Take that!
You had asked Miss Bird to open your own office door for you, yes? Yeah, I kinda forgot my key at home. Happens a bit too often for my taste, you know. But the room you had Miss Bird open at that time was not your own, was it? What? You have quite the imagination. But why don't we ask the girl herself whose door she opened, shall we? I'm certain it was Mr. Portman's door, sir. I checked the number plate to make sure I was opening the right door, sir. See, Miss Bird backs up my story. Yet, what if you had misled her to fool her into thinking what you wanted? And how do you suppose I did that? By switching the number plates on our doors, for example. That's right, they do slide out pretty easily. Furthermore, you used one other thing to give a very strong impression. That the door she was opening was yours and not in fact mine. It's the fucking basketball hoop.
Take that!
What? The basketball hoop, sir? It's quite the peculiar fixture in any hallway, let alone a hallway in this building. Which is why it left with an unusually strong impression on you. It's an object perfectly suited to sit just outside the office of a peculiar prosecutor. Gah! That's very true, sir, because there is a basketball hoop sitting there. I thought the door I was opening had to be Mr. Portsman's. There are signs that the hoop had been moved. To sit it in front of my office, to be sure. I see, so that's how you throw suspicion on people. Thanks for the tip. But I think your conjecture's a little off the racetrack. Now you're just spouting nonsense. I had the girl open my office door. After that, I was in my room the entire time. You don't have a single reason to suspect me. Bitch, stop lying! So he intends to claim his innocence to the end, does he? I am as pure and innocent as my jacket. And Miss Bird is as dirty and guilty as the jacket she wears. My jacket's not dirty, I'll have you know. I just washed it yesterday. Please calm down, for I intend to show who is the one who's truly covered in slime here. Nonsense, you say? Yes, because I'm telling the truth here.
Hold it!
Using the master key, of course. Sure, you have a problem with that? That is what the master key is for, right? Perhaps we should place it in an elaborate labyrinth of some sort for people like you.
Hold it!
And what were you doing in your office? I was doing my usual training regimen. Training regimen? Were you going through your law books from start to finish? Mainly batting practice and some weights. Oh, and I jog when I get the chance. Wow, you must be the buffest prosecutor we have. With the weakest legal muscles, it would seem. Ooh. I was doing my usual workout, so... You don't have a single reason to suspect me.
Hold it!
I think I've given you quite a few reasons, actually.
Objection!
But none of those would stand up on their own.
Objection!
Then what about all the evidence?
Objection!
It's all circumstantial. No judge would convict on such flimsy evidence. He seems to be trembling a little. One more little push. All I have to do is find the flaw in his testimony. Bitch, stop lying!
Objection!
Think, Mr. Portsman. That was a lie. What are you talking about? How is that a lie? This is a note that the victim left for you, Mr. Portsman. A note? It was left under your door. Or did you not notice? And right here it says, but you're out. You were not in your room when the victim came to call on you. So then, where were you, and what were you doing? Ah! Shall I explain it in full detail for you? You were busy snooping around in my room. The very room you had Miss Bird open for you. Oh, damn, this arranged track sounds so good.
Objection!
That's just nonsense. You have no evidence that I made the girl open your door for me. Oh, but I do. I have very decisive evidence. No way! This is proof positive you had Miss Bird open the door for you.
Take that!
I had your door dusted for prints. My door? What for? Come on, I bet you didn't find anything. You sure are good at wasting time, you idiot. You're right, I didn't find anything. And definitely not Miss Bird's fingerprints. Prints? What do they have to do with anything? Let's put it this way. If she really was the one who opened your door, then her prints should naturally be on the doorknob she touched. Ack! Further, all the prints on my office door's knob have been wiped clean off. I can only assume it's because Miss Bird's fingerprints were on it. Don't you think it's time you gave up your charade? We know you stole into my office with the intent of stealing something from me, and Detective Faith found you out. Possibly because he heard sounds coming from a room whose occupant was on leave. Mr. Portsman, you killed Mr. Faith to silence him. And I had the misfortune to return when I did. You had to threaten me as you escaped. The fuck? As I said, when you had the gun to my back, no one gets away with committing murder in my office. And just what's so funny, pal? Well, that look of stiff seriousness on the face of this office's finest prosecutor, as he makes a huge mistake in accusing me is simply too much to bear. There's just nothing else like it in the world. What? Mr. Edgeworth just explained it all, and he even backed it up. You're the murderer. Stop trying to be slippery and just admit to the crime already. And as I said earlier, it's all so circumstantial, so full of conjecture. You say you checked my doorknob for prints? Well, I can readily confess that I wiped that knob down well. I'm a little obsessive-compulsive, you see. I didn't want to touch a doorknob that you had touched, filthy woman. Which is why I wiped the knob down as soon as I could after you opened the door. After that, it makes perfect sense that only Jim's and my own prints would be on there. You made that up just now, didn't you? Furthermore, as for the note Jim left for me, do you know exactly when that was? For all we know, he could have left it there before I arrived at the office. Like, Early evening, for example. Are you saying you failed to notice a note in your doorway? Hey, even geniuses fail at times. I was probably too preoccupied by work-related matters, though that's no excuse. Now that's just a flat-out lie. There's no way you didn't notice a note that size. You can't prove that, can ya? Say something, Mr. Edgeworth. Back me up here, sir. Portsman makes a good point. I can't prove he could simply overlook it. Besides, I have an airtight alibi. Airtight, you say? I only just realized I had one as we were talking. I guess it would have been better for all of us if I just told you sooner. If memory serves, you came back to this office around 2 a.m., correct? And it was then that you had that unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit. But at exactly that time, I was down in criminal affairs. Ask around. I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. It's the perfect alibi. Do you really think it's that perfect? Like I said, I don't care. Ask around all you like. You'll see for yourself. Detective Gumshoe. Sir, yes, sir. I'll go check out his alibi, sir. Be right back. But Mr. Edgeworth, sir, I think we're in trouble. It's just like Mr. Portsman said. The guys down in criminal affairs said they saw him around 2 a.m. You see? All of the evidence points to him being the culprit, so there must be a contradictory point in his alibi somewhere.
Hold it!
You are correct. It was around 2 a.m. Are you sure? It's really important to me that you're spot on with the time. I remember checking my watch then, and make no mistake, it was 2. Ooh, giving testimony like a pro. Okay, so you came back to your office at 2.
Hold it!
It is as you say, however... Yes, however, you're the only one who claims to have bumped into the culprit. So tell me, did you see the person's face? Was it me who you saw? It was pitch black, so I couldn't actually see.
Objection!
Oh, come now. I'm sure you saw something. Try a little harder, why don't ya? I'm beginning to feel like I'm the one being interrogated here. Ah, well, it doesn't matter if you remember or not. It only matters you ran into the culprit.
Hold it!
So, you paid the Criminal Affairs Department a visit. Yup, right after I left the prosecutor's building, I headed straight for the precinct.
Hold it!
Well, we did go and ask around to confirm your testimony. And it was just as I said, alright? Yes, sir. A number of detectives said they saw you around that time. See, I have the perfect alibi. That's the ace I had up my sleeve. Arrgh! Impossible! He actually does have the perfect alibi. What's wrong? Why the sudden sullen look on your face? Can't you say anything back, Mr. Edgeworth? Heh, I think we've reached the end of the line, and it's time to get off this crazy train. You there. Sir, please escort the young lady out, but remember, be gentle. Maggie! Detective Gumshoe! Is there nothing I can do? There must be a way to turn this situation around. A turnabout, if you will. If only I had a clue. Did I miss something that can help me cast doubt on his alibi? I need to calmly think this through one more time, and with logic. Well, it couldn't have been him, but we know there was another gun. There were 2 bullets left at the scene of the crime. One that robbed Mr. Faith of his life, and one that nearly robbed me of my jacket. However, the murder weapon only shows sign of being fired once, meaning that it's entirely possible that a second gun was used in my office tonight. But seeing as how the killer had to steal Mr. Faith's gun, I doubt the killer had another gun up their sleeve. Therefore, the second gun could have been the property of an entirely different person, which could mean that there was another person who paid a visit to my office tonight. Supposing there was yet another visitor tonight, that would also resolve the issue of why my shells were upended twice. We know that the shells were disturbed once before and once after the murder, so it shouldn't be much of a stretch to think that it was the work of two different people. Once by the person who stole the victim's gun and then killed him with it, and once again after the murder by our second culprit, who was the owner of the second gun. If we suppose that the second culprit's gun was the one that was pointed at my back.
Objection!
Mr. Portsman, it seems that I need to amend my assumptions regarding this case. Great, so you finally come to your senses. Mr. Edgeworth? Sir, what are you saying? This has been a big misunderstanding on my part from the start. I had assumed that the person I ran into was the killer, but that may not be the case. What do you mean? The person I ran into was just your average thief. The thief? But sir, doesn't that cause some sort of contradiction in the facts? Not at all. It simply means that the killer was someone else. And it means that in actuality, two culprits stole into my office tonight. What do you mean, two? It explains why both my shells were disturbed twice, and how there were two guns. Mr. Portsman tricked Miss Bird and gained entry into my office.
Objection!
Now you're just leading the argument. You still don't have any actual proof, you know? If you could please go along with my hypothetical scenario for now, Mr. Portsman. In the end, if you really are innocent, you should have nothing to worry about. Grrr. Now then, returning to my scenario, Mr. Portsman was out to steal something from me, which is why he checked my secret safe and ransacked my shelves. This was the first time. So then, this would be when the files were put back in the wrong order, right? Correct. And then, just when he was about to look somewhere else, who should walk in but his own partner, Mr. Faith? But why did Mr. Faith come into your room, sir? He probably had business with Mr. Portsman, which is why he was in the area. But that's when he noticed sounds coming from my office, that would be my guess. Oh, because you're supposed to be away, right? And he must have thought it was odd, so he came into this office to check it out. Correct. And as a detective, that was the right thing to do. But when he came in, he found his own partner standing there. Because it was Mr. Portsman. Mr. Faith probably let his guard down. But Mr. Portsman was not so merciful as to let him leave alive. He waited for a chance and stole Mr. Faith's gun from him, and then he killed him. He silenced Mr. Faith for catching him in the act of stealing. This was the moment in which the first shot was fired, the one that landed in my files. Following that, Mr. Portsman wiped the gun down and left it behind as he made his exit. He could afford to do that because he had also left the fake dying message behind. You're such a complicated troublemaker, you know that? Well, if things were as simple as that, then all would be solved. However, there was yet another visitor to my room, and this is where it gets complicated. There was another visitor, sir? Yes, and this other person's objective was to steal something from me. Now then, even after Mr. Portsman left, the door to my office remained unlocked. However, this new visitor had no way of knowing that, and so they stole the master key from the security guard's room. and then entered my room and searched through my shelves. This was the second time they were disturbed, and it seems the thief found their prize. The stolen 0 file, right, sir? Correct. Only just as the thief was about to leave with the file, I appeared. The thief then threatened me with their own gun and made their escape. The second bullet was fired during that brief encounter. So the shelves getting messed up twice in the 2 bullets, it was all because of 2 different people were doing those things at 2 different times. Precisely. So now do you see, Mr. Portsman? The person I met was just a thief, and not in fact, Mr. Fate's killer. Your alibi for the time frame in which I ran into the other person is now irrelevant, because we now know that the murder took place during the first culprit's visit.
Objection!
What's so funny, pal? Absolutely splendid. Your scenario explains everything. Of course it does. It's Mr. Edgeworth after all. But you know, it still doesn't change the fact that it is all circumstantial. Supposing if, and that's a big if, your theory's right, it would indeed render my alibi, which was withstood scrutiny, mind you, irrelevant. But there's still one defining point of your argument for which you still have no evidence. Your supposition that I was the first visitor. Grrr, Mr. Edgeworth, you can't let him get away with that, sir. But he has a point. I have absolutely no proof at this point. Don't say that, sir. I don't believe this. Don't worry, Maggie. I'll do something if I must. You know something? I find your attitude to be somewhat peculiar, Mr. Edgeworth. If the person you met really was just a plain old thief, then why is that person not your main suspect? That is, if your theory's correct. Oh god, man. Why are they cooking so hard with the arranged tracks? That thief you ran into should still be a real suspect, wouldn't you say? We should be out there looking for that thief right now. They might still be nearby. I hate to repeat myself, but as I've already said, I was training in my room. And when Jim came to deliver some evidence to me, I was down in criminal affairs. So I can't be expected to know what happened around here after I left. So you think we should be out there looking for the thief? Of course! Now isn't the time to be having these dead-end discussions. I don't think it's at all dead-ended. I find your alibi to be fascinating. Whoops. Let's continue where we left off, shall we? I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. I just have to find a way to prove it.
Hold it!
Actually, no, I wouldn't. Why not? That's elementary. The dying message, of course. Mr. Fate's killer very clearly left those letters on the spines of those files, and it was after they were on there that the thief stole one of them. You mean the 0 files, right? And that's how we also know the letters themselves were a setup, and not from Mr. Fate. If the thief was the killer, do you think they would try to undermine themselves? Ah! Maybe the killer just didn't think of that either. Yeah, that must be it. Maybe, just maybe.
Hold it!
Once escaped, I highly doubt a thief would linger nearby. Well, you never know. Maybe they didn't get what they were really after. Oh, you talk like you... Excuse me. Know quite a bit about this thief. Ah, it's nothing like that. I have no idea about anything, after all. Give him 1 minute. Bad time to develop some hiccups.
Hold it!
But according to Mr. Fate's note... Hold on, I thought we already cleared that up. Didn't we say that Jim left that note for me in the early evening? If you have proof... Oh, fuck. If you have proof he left it at a different time, say just before he was murdered, I don't have any, no. You see? So I... Fuck me. Alright, I'm gonna take a short break. I'll be right back. Alright, I think it's gone now. You see, so I insist again that I was in my office the entire time.
Hold it!
Why didn't you go there with Mr. Faith? Ah, that's because he said he was tired and was gonna take a quick nap. You know those sofas in the hallway? He likes to sleep on those. It's one of his habits. And what of the evidence he brought? There were things related to yesterday's case. Just 2 items. A gun and a pendant. Interesting. This piece of testimony seems to be too crucial to let slip through the cracks. He brought me 2 items. A gun and a pendant that are related to yesterday's case.
Hold it!
A gun and a pendant. Yes, this gun, which was the murder weapon, and this pendant, which belonged to the victim. And why were you taking them to criminal affairs? There was something in a past case file I wanted to compare these two to, but all this has nothing to do with this case right now. Anyway, I believe you'll find the long paper trailer left to be to your satisfaction. This is all matching up with what Detective Gumshoe found out.
Hold it!
I can't expect you to know, can I? Nope, but I guess you can expect me to take a guess based on logical deductions. Oh, then let's see you deduce. Jim waited for me to leave and then stole the master key. For the purpose of sneaking into your room, of course. And that's when Miss Bird caught him red-handed and the murder occurred. It's all exactly as I laid out earlier. I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. I just had to find a way to prove it. Oh, he only talked about 2 pieces of evidence.
Objection!
Stop fucking lying. Only 2 pieces. I believe the proper phrase here is, you fail. Excuse me? You fail as a prosecutor, Mr. Portsman, as you intend to keep hidden evidence hidden from me. What are you talking about? I haven't hidden anything from you. Well, here's a piece I think you should read carefully. Ah, it says that Mr. Faith was bringing 3 pieces. Yes, and this is the victim's real dying message to you, Mr. Portsman. I can't believe, to get tripped up by simple arithmetic. Where is the missing piece of evidence? You have it, don't you? Only the guilty would make such a face. Detective Gumshoe. You don't have to say it, sir. I'll pat the guy down from head to toe. What? Don't come any closer! I'm warning you! This is all part of the investigation, pal. So don't even think about stopping me. No! Hey, what's this? He had this on him, sir. Despite what you said, it would appear that you do have something to hide. But why would he hide something like that? There's only one reason why anyone would hide evidence of this caliber. Because it would unequivocally point to that person himself as the real killer. Let's examine this videotape in a little more detail. For the section of the tape that will drive the last nail into his coffin. The KG-8 incident. That's a police case number, sir. Does this mean this video is evidence from that case? Interesting. However, what's recorded on this isn't what's important right now. Let's give the casing a thorough once-over. Ah, that's blood, isn't it? Yes, and I believe this is what the good prosecutor was trying to hide from us. This blood is still fresh. You mean this might be Detective Fate's blood? No! You got it all wrong! No amount of denial can save you. We have but to run a blood test to find the truth. You told us that you had received evidence from the victim earlier. Now you'll tell us when and how did the victim's blood find its way onto this video. Yeah, it's totally suspicious. Was it at the moment of his death? Did Detective Faith have this videotape on his personage when you killed him? You know very well there's no way to prove that. Not even if we were to examine this tape for fingerprints? Gah! If I had to take a guess, I'd say the only ones on here would belong to the murderous you and Mr. Faith. No, impossible. I think he's dead. Mr. Portsman has been placed under arrest for the murder of Detective Buddy Faith, sir. Very good. And the results we got back from the lab techs on the tape turned out to be real solid, sir. The blood work came back and it was definitely Mr. Faith's blood on there. And as a bonus, they were also able to lift a few of Mr. Faith's fingerprints as well. Thank you so very much, Mr. Edgeworth. I still can't believe I got to see your cool deduction skills outside the courtroom. I'm impressed beyond words, sir. It was nothing. I'm just sorry you got caught up in a murder in my office. Please accept my apologies. Aw, it was nothing. Really. Compared to what I've been through, I mean... I consider myself lucky that it's only a burglary and a murder this time, sir. If it had been a holdup or a hostage situation, I'd have thrown my hands up in the air. I think I'm finally rising up from a goddess of misfortune to just an unlucky person. Something tells me we should have hired a different person for security detail. You know something, sir? That Mr. Portman was really one corrupt prosecutor. And why would you say he was corrupt? Well, I heard that there were a number of suspicious things related to his court cases. There's even rumors about how some of the evidence he uses is forged, sir. Forged evidence, huh? And they say he even decided not to prosecute a few cases for some really vague reasons. Ooh, that guy was a complete disgrace to the entire profession. We never did get around to asking what his reason was for breaking into my office. Yeah, whenever we got near that topic, he just clammed up like a pussy. Although he can be pretty certain it was to steal something. This is just between you and me, sir, but there's a rumor that some sort of huge organization is involved behind the scenes. Oh, well, well. With Mr. Portsman not willing to divulge anything, it certainly lends credence to that rumor. It would seem that we haven't heard the last of this. Huh? That Mr. Portsman isn't the bad guy? I didn't say that, but rather, there are still many more mysteries for us to solve. For example, we still haven't figured out the significance to this piece of evidence.
Take that!
The person who stole this file, the other villain of the night. Yeah, I wonder who it was. And what happened to the stolen pages? I wonder, who in the world was it that held me up at gunpoint? Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Yes? I came across this while I was processing your office earlier, sir. This card. What is it, sir? Is that a bird or something on there? It's not just any bird. It's the mark of the raven. A three-legged raven. Even you should know what this is, detective. Oh, it's about that thing, isn't it? That great thief everyone's talking about. Yes, it is the mark of the great thief, Yatagarasu. Under the mark of a legendary bird, the Yatagarasu is noble to the end, a modern Robin Hood. Mercurial News, Special Edition. Yatagarasu haunts embassy. The noble Yatagarasu, vigilante of the business world, reappears. Labeled mysterious and phantom-like, the Yatagarasu appears and vanishes at will. Although we don't know much about this thief's ultimate goal, we do know the targets. The Yatagarasu likes to find and make public evidence of corrupt dealings of all sorts. The Yatagarasu reappears, corporate dealings exposed. The theft is always performed in silence, and always with perfection. Once a target is chosen, no dramatic calling card or announcement is sent forth. Instead, the chosen corporation is infiltrated without even the target noticing. Some days later, the evidence that was found is sent out to the mass media, along with this single card. Although it has been a while since the Yatagarasu's last appearance. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth, look! Something's written on the back! What? Let me see. It's the location of where the thief put the stolen files. So the person who stole the contents of the file was the Yatagarasu. Yatagarasu. Organization. Quite a few key words are popping up in this mystery. The murder in my office. The return of the great thief Yatagarasu. Looking back, I can't say I didn't see these events coming. For they were heralded by the incidents that began to occur 2 days ago. The end. Alright. Managed to finish the first case in just about 2 hours. That's pretty good time. Let's see. You know, I'll do the intro of this case. Or actually, nah, it's just... Nah, I think I'm actually gonna call it here, actually. Mostly because this is putting a bit of a strain on my throat, and I don't want to go too hard. But I'm glad that I was able to, you know, play this finally after I mistakenly misread the release date last week. And honestly, I'm willing to do this continuously, mostly because I do want to replay this for my own benefit. It has been like 10 years since I played this game. And I do want to get caught up before I replay the second game, because I did play the second game's fan translation a couple years back. And I'm super excited to see like all the official changes and stuff. But we'll have to leave Turnabout Airlines for next time, so I can give my voice a rest. So thanks again for everyone who joined me that was lurking. If you haven't already, please send me a follow and Oh, thank you for the follow, man, of songwriting. I really appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for following. And I'll catch you all next time. Until then, have a good day.